Hey Internet, it's David, and I got a good question from a subscriber on what is my favorite reading Bible. And so that came when I did a series of videos kind of last year and last fall, intermittently on what I look for in a preacher's Bible and then reviewing the actual John MacArthur preacher's Bible. Typically those Bibles are also Bibles that I study in, mark up a little bit more extensively, write cross-references in, write notes in. And so someone was just wondering like, hey, well, I'm not a preacher. What is your favorite Bible to just sit down and read in? The last several years, I've kind of just developed an eye for something that I prefer and a feel that I prefer for the Bible that I'm going to read. And so I'm going to show you the whole process that has really made me appreciate things like typeface, paper quality, line matching, all that stuff. So I'm just going to start from my first Bible to what I use consistently now. So I'm not going to show all of these, but just so some of you have a frame of reference for the development of my personal preferences. There's no right or wrong, this is just my personal preference. So my first one was this New Living Life Application Study Bible my wife got me before I was a Christian. I think I had read Revelation through maybe one time and got a little bit spooked out. Didn't use this much until I got saved, and then this became the first Bible that I read through. I really didn't pay much attention to the study notes. I really just fell in love with the Lord in this Bible, but I saw how limited it was. So I was looking for something a little bit more accurate translation-wise, something that was specifically for Bible study. Next one was a Cambridge wide margin and goatskin that I saved up for and purchased for myself. This was a big purchase. I remember I couldn't believe, like, wow, there's Bibles for $200? And it took a little bit to save up for it, but I saved up for it, and it was worth it to me. I didn't know anything about binding, but for some reason goatskin was in my head, so I Googled goatskin, New American Standard, and a couple options came up, and I decided on the wide margin, which is just a paragraph format, center column reference with all kinds of stuff room to write on the sides and stuff. I use gel ink in this thing, so there's some places where it's just tragedies happen. Don't use gel ink in your Bible. I have a video on the pens and stuff that I use and how I mark my Bible video from a few years ago. So I'm not going to re-talk about that, but that was my next one. What got me to move out of this one as my primary Bible was after I had read through it, I was using the notes, but when I started preaching more and being invited to teach more at youth group or even Sunday mornings, I would teach from this Bible, and I noticed, wow, that font's really small and way in there, and I would get jumbled up and lost, but I'm at max capacity with my notes. And so I ordered a New American Standard Allen Reader. Well, I was kind of new, so I didn't know exactly what I was getting into. So when the reader came in, and that's this guy here, I began to notice, like, hey, I like the verse by verse. I like how this is laid out. I like the big font. I don't get lost in it very easy. And there's still room for cross-referencing, notebook paper in the back. And so I actually really enjoyed teaching out of this one and studying out of this one. And so it became my primary preaching Bible. So I like those for studying and for teaching it. At the beginning, I only studied in my Bibles. I was able to relax while I'm studying and enjoy the Lord while I'm studying, but still what began to be a desire of my heart as I'm studying, because things are being marked up in such great detail in the wide margin and in the readers, that sometimes after doing that all day in the prayer room or coming off work and doing that for a while, sometimes it's like, man, my brain just wants to relax, not look at things in such detail or have to annotate in such detail, but just to enjoy the Lord and His Word, to unwind with Him. So at this point in my life, I didn't really have the capacity to enjoy movies or what was on TV. I'm not saying I don't watch TV or movies now, but it's very, very small. And honestly, like, video games used to just capture my attention for hours. And after Christ and I fell in love with His Word, like, He held my attention in the Word. I was looking for a Bible that I could shut my brain off more and just enjoy reading. And I remember when the Allen ESV readers were released, and there was a review on the Bible Design blog, and I'm just like, oh man, these things are amazing. I had been wanting to get more into the ESV, so my wife was actually the first one to order one of these, and hers came in, and I was just floored at how the ESV reader felt, and it just drapes over your legs like curtains, is my wife's words from a previous video. But I really, really liked the typeface on this thing. It was a double column paragraph format with center column reference, but it didn't have the border, so it kind of, to me, it just opened up the page more, in my opinion, where it just seemed like it was easier for the eye to rest on the page. And I never really noticed typeface or knew that was a thing. Still didn't know it was a thing, but I was just sitting there with her Bible before I ordered mine. I'm like, man, I actually really enjoy laying eyes on this page. And so I picked one of these up to begin to spend time with. And so I started marking it up like I did my study Bible, but I just enjoyed the size of the font. Reading this one, I should let you know, before I got the New American Standard readers, this was my first readers, and so I was surprised that the New American Standard readers was verse by verse, so I wasn't looking at that. I'm grateful for it now because it's an amazing addition to have, but the ESV readers are paragraph format, and so I've really enjoyed spending time with them, so much so that I use them about that much. I picked up a few of them. This is the commemorative edition. No markings in this one. This one stays fresh. But anyway, all three of these are just really, really neat additions. Same typeface, and just such a pleasure to be in as the ESV Allen readers. I'm showing you my top 4 Bibles that I'd like to just enjoy and just read through, and I don't spend a lot of time marking up. So the ESV readers would be number 4, and I still enjoy them. That was the first one that got me thinking of a Bible like just for the purpose of sitting down and reading, not just marking up, but just, again, shutting off my mind and being able to relax and unwind in the Word with the Lord. ESV readers just had an interesting typeface because I'd never seen center columns done like that, and it was just an enjoyable Bible to read, an enjoyable Bible to mark up. But then Schuyler came out with the Quintels, and I had already had a Schuyler before they came out with the Quintels. It was their New King James single column paragraph. Honestly, I like the Bible, but that's not my go-to for reading through. Most of the single column paragraphs seem to go too far into the page and put too much text on the page, where for some reason my personality, my mind, I just don't enjoy that as much as some of the ones that I'm going to be presenting here. But anyway, so I get my first Quintel from Schuyler, and this is what everyone calls the brick. This one I've completely gone through with just a yellow highlighter on every page, and this one surprised me. I was like, yeah, that's cool, it's kind of big. Okay, I had no opinion or thoughts on the size. I prefer the thinner Bible, so my Allen Reader was still, just as far as aesthetics went, my favorite Bible. But I wanted to see what the fuss was all about, and plus they put 4 ribbons in the thing, so I'm like, man, that's cool. Allen only puts 3. Here's a 4-ribbon Bible, guys. And so anyway, I got this. I think this was a Christmas present or a birthday present one year when they first came out. But anyway, this one snuck up on me. I enjoyed reading through this more than any other Bible that I've ever read through. And at this point, I have got shelves of study Bibles and these Allen Readers, some of the Allen Bibles, some more Cambridge Bibles. And as I purposed in my heart to just read through this one, I just fell in love with the format. And so traditionally, I don't like these double columns with references and stuff at the bottom. It seems natural to me to open up a Bible, see double column center reference. And so I didn't really like the page layout at first, but as I began to read through this one, I realized I actually fell in love with this format because the functionality was amazing. It didn't feel like I was reading too far over, but it didn't feel like it took too long to get too far down. Just the page layout, the font, everything just works together so good to be like, to me, in my opinion, the ultimate reading experience. And all these Quintels are line matched as well. And so this one had pretty good GSM, like 40 something GSM. Everything just popped off the page, but the cross references are on the bottom, and then you have the footnotes on the outside corners of the Quintel. And the way that everything is annotated, it was just such an easy reference system. I pay attention to the footnotes when I read. And so it was so easy to just look at the footnote and find the footnote you're looking for, and reading when it's a center reference is a little bit more time consuming, but this was just like, you see the footnote reference and bam, and then go back to reading. And so it was just very efficient. I began to recognize this. I just fell in love with reading the Quintel, so much so that when I was done with this brick, that I got another one to read through. And so the Quintel just became an absolute pleasure to read through. Now, because Skylar did such a good job with the Quintel, when they came out with the Caxton, I wanted to give it a try because the Quintel really shocked me with how nice it was and just how much fun and efficient it was to read. And so if you're one that pays attention to cross-references, footnotes, the Quintel is your baby. It's been my absolute favorite format to just spend hours in and just reading through. And so anyway, when they came out with the Caxton, it's New Living Translation only. But one of the other things I look for in a reading Bible, sometimes I just want to open up a paraphrase and just enjoy a fun paraphrase. So I have paraphrases out the wazoo that I read through, but a New Living, because I started in that one when I first got saved, has a special place in my heart. So I often go to that as my first paraphrase that I continue to read through. And the format of the Caxton was really refreshing to me for a single column. It wasn't as small as the Cambridge one. It felt like the Clarion, I think it's called. I don't have any of the Clarions. I've seen them in person. I personally I'm okay without it. And if I had one, I probably wouldn't use it. But I really like the Caxton and the single column paragraph. It doesn't feel like I'm reading too much across the page, and you can get through the pages pretty efficiently. And the cross references are of course easy. Footnotes are all at the bottom, so it was still an efficient footnote reading system to me as well. And so the Caxton is my number 2. So I'm going out of order, I know. So the Allen ESV Readers is my number 4 favorite. The Caxton NLT is like my number 2 favorite to pick up and read through when I'm wanting just a read through it Bible. Quintel's number 1. And so here's number 3. The Skylar Canterbury. Now, it's not just any Canterbury though. I have the goatskin Canterbury and I have the personal size Canterbury. And so some of you, if you're familiar with my channel, you know I'm recording a King James audio Bible. I started in the Westminster King James because that's what I had from TBS, and I didn't really enjoy reading that one, especially out loud in a microphone to record an audio Bible. The print was small, and even with my reading glasses on. So I got the goat skin Canterbury because it's very similar setup to the Quintel. But honestly, when this Overboard came out, this is one of my absolute favorite Bibles. So if you're a King James guy, this one is just a pleasure to read. Beyond the typeface, just the way that it functions and feels in the hand, and the hardboard just keeps everything nice and flat, nothing going into the gutter, like amazing gutter space in there. This thing is just a joy, especially recording a audio Bible, reading this out loud in the microphone. It is just plumb fun. All the Cross references are on the bottom, just like the Quintel. One of the major things that separates the Canterbury from the Quintels is the self-pronouncing text. So when you're reading out loud and recording an audio Bible, it's really, really handy. Some people don't like the way that it looks within reading, but for me it's helpful. So I absolutely love reading this one. This is a dream to do an audio Bible with. And so just the way that it opens and functions, and these typefaces and the page quality to me, and these Skylers, there's something else, man. I really, really enjoy them. This Overboard, I really do enjoy it. And it is near expensive. It's like half the price as some of these other ones. So if you're looking at for a good King James, I mean, this Skylar Overboard and Cowhide is pretty stinking amazing. I have a full review on it in the Bible review playlist, so I'm not going to do a review on it now, just to say I absolutely love reading through this guy, and you might too. So anyway, I love Quintels like at least that much. So I'll show you. This is my stack of Quintels, and that's how much I enjoy reading this typeface. There's a personal size and a full size that I don't mark in, that I always want to open up and read with fresh eyes and not have any markings in it. Because of my journey, summing it up, what I look for in a preacher's, or not a preacher's Bible, I did the preacher's Bible video. What I look for in just a relaxing reading Bible that I'm going to enjoy and enjoy the Lord in is I just want something big. To me, like, these are the perfect just sit down and read. They're going to drape over your legs. They're going to be enjoyable to handle. You don't get anything like I was showing you in that hardboard. You don't get stuff running into the gutter. And so it's just a nice Bible that will lay there with nice big font. I like the paragraph format for reading. Even though the verses are clearly marked in this one. I've preached out of another New American Standard Quintel before, just because my notes were in there and I didn't have time to transfer notes from that one to my preacher Bible. And honestly, I don't like teaching out of paragraph formats, even with the nice font in the Quintel. But I absolutely, when I'm at home and I'm relaxing, spend time reading the Bible. Like, these are my reading Bibles. So that's why I have more Quintels than I have of any other edition. And so I just absolutely love these. I have them mostly in New American Standard, and then this one, New King James. I don't have them in any other translations. And so anyway, those have just been such a pleasure to read through. I absolutely love the Quintels. To me, they're worth it. I have some other editions from some other publishers that, to me, I mean, they do a good job, but it's not a Quintel good job. In my opinion, nothing compares to the Quintel. And again, remember, I did not like the way the format looked. It didn't look traditional to me, but as I began to read through it and I saw the functionality of it, I have fallen in love with this typeface and this format, and I can't imagine reading in any other format. So that's just hands down, absolutely, by far, my favorite Bible to read in is the Quintel. And so, good thing about Quintel, you'll probably be able to find what you're looking for in the Quintel if you're looking for one of the more reputable translations. And then again, if you're a King James person, the Canterbury is pretty much the Quintel. There's some differences. They added a few more bells and whistles because it's the King James, y'all. And so anyway, those are just great Bibles. And the Quintels changed throughout the years, gone through different modifications as they're doing different things with GSM. And so this was the first one that they did. This is probably more what they're moving to with the 28 GSM Quintels. It's the same typeface. The ghosting is a little bit different, but they're all still line matched and they all still just read wonderfully. So you can't go wrong with the Quintel. They're really worth it. Also, if you enjoy the work and the ministry of this channel, you can support me over on Patreon for as little as $2 a month, and then there's different tiers to follow the progression of the audio Bible as I release a little bit more content over there, and then free music downloads and stuff. And then also, if you like music playing underneath this video or any of my other videos, it's all available for download at forloveoftheword.bandcamp.com. Those links will be in the description, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.